This is going to be a different kind of video. But before we get into it, I do want to announce that I am going to be giving 20 battle passes away for the start of Wuthering Waves. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be cautious testing out the game, not super certain if you're going to love it. So in order to kind of facilitate things, after you finish rerolling or after you've decided whatever you want to do with the game, I'll be giving away battle passes. Feel free to join the Discord so you can react and receive a chance to receive the battle pass. Feel free to check out the rest of my socials in order to keep up to date with it. Thank you again for supporting me, and let's get into it. If you're like me, the terms and concepts in Wuthering Waves are kind of complicated, so I'm gonna explain each term and concept like you and I are both 5, since I originally didn't even understand these terms either. In this video, I'll also provide a few tips regarding each concept that I found to be important for success, and in doing so, I'll be referencing a couple sources like Pridewin, Lol Shinya, and Narushio for the background footage and things like that. Thank you so much to all these creators and resources, I sincerely appreciate it. Let's get into it. To begin, let's get familiar with a couple concepts that may be foreign to you, but will definitely be important when starting Wuthering Waves, watching content, or hearing people even talk about the game. First and foremost, we have the concept of rerolling. According to Urban Dictionary, because this is not really a real term, the act of rerolling is to abandon a character and to create a new one. Now, this can definitely be done in a number of ways and can also include doing things like making a new email. But on the topic, rerolling may be common and ideal for free-to-play or non-spenders in a gacha game, but in this game, rerolling takes around 30 to 45 minutes on average to restart a single time. So although it may be worth it if you're determined to get your singular favorite character, I don't generally recommend this in favor of saving your sanity and your time. To add, players will be able to select a 5-star of their choice between Janjin, Ling Yang, Encore, Kalcharo, and Verena, with many of the 4 stars also obtainable through the story or through some launch or web event, all of which will be given to you regardless of your luck. Because of this, rerolling isn't as ideal or really promising because of all the hoops and barriers that it feels like Kuro Games has placed so that you can't really reroll efficiently. But at the end of the day, I can't control you and neither can Kuro. If you want to reroll, by all means. There is another thing that I want to touch on, and it's about summons when it comes to Wuthering Waves. Convenes is the title that Wuthering Waves associates or labels its gacha banners. And within the summoning system, the currency known as Astrites or your typical premium currency are usable for exchanges, refreshes, and anything in between. However, Lustrous Tides are the general non-specific convene summons, aka normal passes, and separately, the Radiant Tides are used specifically for character convenes, and Forging Tides, you guessed it, are for the weapons. To be clear, it is highly recommended that you only use Astrites on summons when you need to exchange them for specific rate-up summons like Radiant or Forging Tides. And this is because you will get Lustrous Tides in other ways, such as the pre-registration or going through the story, and by comparison, it will be much more difficult for you to find summons in order to pull for the characters that are exclusively on a rate up banner, aka the Radiant or Forging convenes. The ecosystem in Wuthering Waves is the secondary RNG aspect in the game, and it's also the gearing or artifact system if you're familiar with Hoyoverse game. Echoes can be a bit complicated since they are dropped by monsters that you have to hunt, and they also have randomized stats on them. To keep it short, and I will likely end up making a video separately on it entirely anyways, the ecosystem is a hybrid between a monster that you summon and something that affects the stats of your characters, which makes them a big part of the Wuthering Waves experience. The databank and its level, which are closely tied to the ecosystem, determines your drop rate of echoes and is just as important as the aforementioned ecosystem. To be clear, the echoes are not guaranteed per monster kill, and the chance to get them as a drop will increase based on the bank's level, and so upgrading this level will be extremely important on launch so you can get better echoes and better stats on your characters. On the combat side of things, a resonance skill is the special ability tied to each character that can perform an effect, an attack, a buff, or a debuff, and also generates resonance energy if you hit the target with it. Now, this is just the non-basic skill that every character has, nothing complex, but the term resonance energy refers to a character's ultimate gauge, and ultimates in this game are also known as resonance liberations. Something that confused me a lot as someone who did try the earlier Wuthering Waves closed betas was the change of a combat system known as concerto effects in this game as well. And on that note, what you need to know about concerto effects and things of that nature is that concerto energy is another separate resource from resonance energy that allows a special effect to activate when it is full. For the term Resonance Energy, which I just mentioned before, that is the resource gauge for the Resonance Liberation, aka your ultimate, but Concerto Energy is the resource gauge for intro and outro effects. Now, an ultimate is, well, an ultimate big boom skill, not much more to say other than that. But an outro effect is simply a special skill or effect that occurs when you swap characters and your Concerto Energy is maxed. Paired with the outro effect is the intro effect, and it is the reverse. An intro effect is what happens after the outro effect first happens, so after an ally leaves the field and provides some sort of effect once your Concerto Energy is maxed, the intro effect is the ability or skill or attack that an ally on your field provides once they enter the battlefield and your Concerto Energy is maxed. And on that note, both Concerto and Resonance Energy are also generated via hits against the enemy, though they both are still separate and generate different amounts of energy depending on other factors. The final system I want to touch on is wave plates, which most of you are probably familiar with being called energy or resin if you're from the Hoyoverse kind of sphere. Wave plates, aka energy, recover at a rate of once every 6 minutes. But before I get into it, I do want to thank Mr. I Am Rivenous not only for providing the details and the footage that you're seeing behind me, but for generally speaking giving me some good tips and advice regarding this next section. Here are a few things you need to know about wave plates and spending your energy. There are several places to use energy, including places like simulation training or world bosses, but based on data from drops from the story and general progression, you will need to definitely spend more time on world bosses to get materials in order to upgrade your characters. To be clear, early data currently shows that you will have enough materials to level a singular complete team without needing simulation training or needing to do some other extraneous activity, so take this into consideration when you're trying to decide on where you actually want to spend your wave plates and use your early energy. As a final disclaimer, information here is subject to change as I am not Crow Games, and it is likely that some systems or some aspects of the game will be changed to generate hype or be rebalanced as a result of the end of closed beta 2 into current state of the game, but I hope this helped. Now, unfortunately, I can't cover every detail possible in this video, but I do think that this is a decent start for understanding some vague or less understood concepts in the game, and in all honesty, some of the concepts still evade me. I'm trying to piece them together so that I can even begin to understand what is being said in some of my fellow content creators' videos. And at the end of it all, guys, if you enjoyed today's video or if you learned something, make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. If you'd also like to see more content like this, feel free to let me know in any of my socials, by DMs, anything like that. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope to see you guys on the release for Wuthering Waves. Again, I'm going to be making more content in between this, so I hope you support those as well. Thank you again for watching. Don't roast me for this very intro video. This is almost kind of like a video just for me because I really didn't understand everything too well when I was looking through and doing research online. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. Good night.